Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's lesson. Just a reminder to keep up with your reading and to always turn in your assignments if you are absent. So, a bell ringer today, I'm just going to quickly discuss with you. There are 6 ways that authors characterize their characters, and we need to remember these so that we can figure out a little bit more about the characters than just looking on the surface. The first way is speech. What is it that they say that help us determine a little bit about who they are? The next is actions. What do they do that show us who they are as people or characters? Appearance, what they look like, often determines our assumption sometimes of the way that characters are developed, but sometimes that appearance is, of course, the way that who they are. Um, Thoughts and feelings, which you do get to see in a story, but not necessarily in real life. And what others say about them. And this happens a lot in the Glass Castle because we find that there are other people who are reacting sometimes to the Walls family and the way that they view the world, which is a little bit different than the rest of us. And the last one is directly from the author, which of course that's the easiest one to detect, but the rest of them we can use to really build our ideas of who these characters are. So when you're working with the characters, please keep these in mind. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was how to determine an important passage. And there's one that I came across and I wanted to share it with you. And you can see over here in the picture that there is, looks like a kind of a hotel on fire. So how do you determine an important passage? Well, does it have any deeper meaning or a central idea? So I came across on page 34, it says, but what did I know? But what I did know was that I lived in a world that at any moment could erupt into fire. It was the sort of knowledge that kept you on your toes. After I read this, I began thinking to myself, this means more than just what's on the page. It's more than just about living through a fire. This last line here made me think, is this lifestyle adventurous or is it actually dangerous? Like, yes, they're having a great time and Jeanette thinks it's so fun to sleep in refrigerator boxes, but really, what is she realizing at this moment? What is she beginning to lose? So what I determined here was that Jeanette is beginning to lose her innocence at a young age because of what she's being exposed to by her parents. So she's realizing that this isn't all magical fun and games. This is actually real life, and the way that they're living could be dangerous. And her realization of this can begin to lessen the innocence that she's trying to hold on to at such a young age. So that could be something that we want to pay attention to as the story progresses. Anytime we see this, we want to develop these central ideas based on what the authors are saying. So I just wanted to give you that example so you can use it to determine your own important passages in the future. The next slide is about how to develop a characterization claim. It's really text analysis and making an evidence-based claim in one. So I took an example from the text. My evidence-based claim is that Jeanette is characterized as unique and extraordinary because most children's reactions to being severely burned in a fire would be fear. Instead of being afraid, Jeanette is drawn to and fascinated by fire and continues to play with it. So you can clearly see that I've analyzed her character. The evidence that I used to determine that was on page 15 when it says the neighbor lady who had driven me to the hospital was surprised that I didn't run in the opposite direction from any fire I saw. And of course, one of the steps to characterization is what others say about them. So that was determined by what others say about them. So that's how you can do a characterization claim. Like I said, it's kind of a text analysis response and also making an evidence-based claim in one. So we're practicing both of those skills. So what does this have to do with? Well, I'm going to have you guys complete a poster displaying your knowledge of characters and hot words, everything we've been doing this week on Google Draw. If you're unfamiliar on how to use Google Draw, I've created a tutorial here for you and you guys can watch this on your own. So it says watch the tutorial on how to work with Google Draw, create your poster for pages 3 through 38, and the criteria is on the next slide using Google Draw. You need to submit this to Google Classroom by Monday, the 23rd by 11:59 p.m. So, what is the criteria? Well, I'm calling this a text analysis poster. So create a poster using Google Draw, and I already created one for you in Google Classroom, so you don't have to do the first couple steps of the tutorial. You need to display the following criteria, and please rewatch this or look at these slides again. Number 1 is the characterization claim with one example of evidence, just like I did in the previous slide, and you can choose any of the characters that we've met so far. Number 2, identify an important or significant passage and try to explain why you think it's important, just like I did on the previous slides. Number 3, include one thought-provoking question or inference for the pages that you have read, and those are pages 3 through 38. Any list of hot words that you come up with, the more the better. And lastly, a graphic illustration of plot and or central ideas. So some sort of picture that symbolizes some of the events that we experienced with Jeanette and also some of the central ideas that we were beginning to develop. You can get them from Google Image, or you can use the draw tool and do them on your own. So that's all in the tutorial. So that is your lesson for today, Friday the 20th, and I am peacing out. Good luck.